Do you think it's possible for a man or a woman to speak to an ex-partner as a friend while they're in a new relationship and it not be an issue?
I think it's definitely possible, but it's not necessarily respectful. Here's the thing, it's definitely possible. Two people can move past it and they're not into each other and whatever it is, but it's not respectful to your new connection. So you have to choose whether, just because I have the ability to have a very platonic relationship with an ex doesn't mean I should have the willingness to do it if it disrespects my current relationship or my current partner. Now, if your partner's okay with it, maybe that's different, but I just think you should be self-regulated enough to know where your values are based. And when you enter a relationship, a part of that should be to respect it enough to let go of relationships that don't serve the new relationship in a way that's going to be constructive. What do you think?
I think that's right. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think a man or a woman who is not liking if their partner is speaking to their ex relationship, does that mean they are jealous and insecure, or actually they have self-esteem?
I think it's an element of boundaries. I think it's just a case of, I think we naturally desire partners who are self-regulated. We naturally want a partner that says, oh, I'm in a relationship now, I love you and I care for you, but I'm in a relationship and I don't want it to affect my new partner. So we naturally want somebody who has that. Now, if we are asking for them to have that, and it doesn't necessarily mean insecure, it just means that you prioritize the relationship over other relationships that shouldn't really be a priority. And a formal relationship outside of children, with children, is really important, and it's really important to have a healthy relationship. But outside of children, it doesn't have to trigger jealousy, but it would be nice if your partner respected things without you having to voice them.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you be okay with somebody speaking to an ex, or?
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't mean I would feel like, okay, you spoke to your ex, like, why?
Yeah.
I would say, why do you need to?
Doesn't mean they're going to have an affair.
I wouldn't be insecure about it. I'd be like, talk to whoever you want to.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's not going to make me insecure as a human, because if you want to be with your ex, then go be with them.
Yeah.
Don't be with me.
Yeah.
But I would just be like, why is this necessary? So if it was, they had kids together, that's the only thing that makes sense. But if you just want to hang out and talk to them, I'll go, that doesn't work for me.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't understand it.
And it's not necessary. If things are necessary, it makes total sense.
Yeah,
but
why do you need to talk to them?
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
That's what I would say to that as well.
Do you think, how many people in relationships do you feel like they feel alone in the relationship?
I would say, particularly in the cultures where we live now, I think majority of them feel alone. And the reason being is, and Esther Perel really highlights this well, is that we've got all of our needs, like our social, emotional, cognitive, all of this, we're putting it all on one person. And when they can't fill all those needs, we start to feel alone. Whereas before we would have a community, we'd spread all of those needs across different people. And as a result, we wouldn't blame our partner for our lonely kind of experiences. So I think, and I notice this particularly with housewives in Western communities, what happens with housewives is because they're feeling under they haven't fulfilled their potential completely in their mind. I'm not saying that they haven't, but in their mind, they feel lonely. They feel super lonely because they almost feel like they're a slave to the child for the first couple of years. And whereas before in our mums' generation and their generations, there'd be so many other mums, there'd be so many stay-at-home mums, so many aunts, uncle, everybody would be close by, that child rearing wasn't so difficult. Now you have to do it totally alone. So they end up finding it really difficult, and they feel really lonely, and they resent their husband as a result. Because if you just share it with somebody and he's usually gone to work or done something, so they end up and it causes a lot of rift.
Why do you think new moms like to do it alone versus do it with support? Parenting.
Because we've created individualistic societies, what's happened is we don't trust people anymore. We see people as predators. Whereas in other societies, they literally share breastfeeding. They're like, give me your baby, put it on there. And they do stuff like that. They raise them, they pay for them, they do everything. So we've almost created a fear of connection. We're a fear of sharing responsibility. And understandably, because the world's a bit of a messy place. So because what happens is they want to take sole responsibility, but then they're overburdened and then they're angry as a result. So it's a really tricky scenario for them. Yeah.
Knowing what you know and what you've studied and what you've heard from men and women in relationships and what you've heard from moms, even though you're not a mom yet, what is it that you think you need to take responsibility for to set yourself up for healthy, conscious love with a partner, but also as a mom, so you're not resentful, you're not lonely, You're not angry at your partner. What do you think you get to work on for yourself?
I think in order to be that mom that's present and able to soothe that child, you have to ensure that there are no wounds within yourself that you're going to project onto that child or require your husband to feel for you. When you've still got these unmet wounds, what will happen is you'll either mollycoddle and over kind of attach it, smother, overprotect, not allow them to experience emotion, project your fears onto them and say, oh, don't touch this, everything's scary. Or you will neglect one or the other. And both of them are equally damaging. You're either passing on anxiety or you're passing on avoidance and, distance. So I think until you heal those wounds, as much as you might want to be a mum, myself included, it's better to reserve it to a time where you can do that child justice, because we almost can't redo their childhood.
What's the part of you that feels like there's something that I'm still holding on to? I get to heal, I get to transform, I get to process so that you can step into motherhood one day of being, the best mom you can be.
God willing. I think when I am around children, what I learn and why I love them so much is the only environment where I don't feel judged. Because children don't really judge you. They just kind of like use you, but they're cute. They just play and stuff. And I remember being around 21 years old and going to like a kid's party and just having the time of my life with these 4-year-olds. And they must have thought I was like some kind of, I need to be on a register of some sort, because I was just so obsessed with them. But because I'm always felt so judged and rejected, I always felt almost really at home with children, really loved and at home with children. And I didn't want to kind of make that the responsibility of having a child, for me to feel cushioned and for me to feel at home and for me to feel like I've got an insurance policy for an emotional connection for the rest of my life. So I think now that I've been out into the real world, I think in a way it's been really healing, because I've learned that I actually am maybe not as bad as I think I am, and I'm not as hated as I think I'm. Actually really appreciated, and therefore I don't need to rely on this child to heal a wound that they didn't create.
Interesting.
God willing.
Right.
God, if I become a mum, God willing.